Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing a review on episode 6 of Dexter Original Sin called The Joy of Killing. For episode 6 plot, there is like two main threads. So the episode opens with us following a little boy. I'm not gonna lie, I actually forgot that we'd already met this little boy. Dexter had the nice little interaction about, I think, Game Boys. It is Derek Shepherd, not Derek Shepherd's little boy, basically. And as he's about to get in the car and his mom is driving him to like a sporting event or school. I can't fully remember and I only watched this yesterday. Anyway, she gets tied up and someone kidnaps the little boy. Probably the same person that obviously kidnapped the young boy earlier in the season. So that is kicking off, and I'm not going to lie, I am now intrigued. It has captured my attention. I actually did like seeing Derek, not like seeing his reaction, but I actually empathised with the character. So it actually made me care about his character all of a sudden. I actually feel emotion towards this new character that they've thrown upon me. I feel like he was going to be a villain early on, and that's why he's not in the original show. I actually think, I'm guessing this event will traumatize him into not wanting to do the job anymore, which I think is an interesting story to kind of go with depending on what plays out with this little mystery person. And then the other vein of the narrative is we are following Dexter, Deb, and Double Date together. All quite intriguing. I'm hoping that captures my attention at one point, Deb's boyfriend, and that becomes a bit of a linking aspect to the overall story, makes you want to add a bit of mystery. But yeah, it's kind of okay seeing all that stuff kind of play out. And then the other storyline kind of being put in this episode in the flashbacks is we're seeing more and more of Laura Moser delving into the crime world and that case they're building against, I want to say, Estrada. Obviously we saw her in a container, in the container yard. So obviously it's linking more and more. It's getting you know what's about to come, which obviously is intriguing. They were the main three plot points, and then the other aspect is that Dexter is tracking his third kill, number 3, the big 3, which means he has become officially a serial killer. Which it were quite amusing seeing them play, not amusing, it was good how they played it off on that. He kind of got promoted in a way in his own head. He was he now becomes officially this thing he's kind of been working towards. And obviously we're seeing a lot more of his routine play out, and he's learning a lot more with each kill. And we're starting to see the Dexter that will form to the original show. So yeah, that's the main plots that are going on in the episode. So now just flip to my notes. The things that I liked, we saw a lumberjack little reference. So Deb is dressing Dexter and she puts plaid on him, and she's like, oh, lumberjacks. Her friend really likes lumberjacks. Which I thought was quite an interesting nice little Easter egg and nod to an ending that I'm not the biggest of fans of, but it was a nod to that ending. LaGuerta and Harry working together, that was also another thing I've made a note of. I don't really remember in the original show Angel and LaGuerta and all these people referencing working with Harry. I do feel like they've squidged the timelines a little bit to make that work. But it is what it is. Obviously the show is a thing, and I'm not going to get away from that. It feels oddly placed seeing Harry work with these people. I feel like that should have come maybe after his death. These people should have come into it a bit more. We've obviously seen Dexter planning his first kill. Seeing Dexter plan the third kill, and we've seen him really stalk somebody properly. The other thing I've took a note of is when Dexter is at a crime scene, he's actually exploring more of his hunches he gets in the main show, and I think he's getting more confidence within the Miami Metro and really kind of getting his feet under the table. So that were quite good to see, and he obviously is pointing nods and kind of linking more and more threads to that original show. obviously as well, we can kind of see Harry getting quite nervous when he was doing that, because obviously Harry's like, stop, like, this isn't good. You're acting a little bit odd. The other next thing I put on my like notes is the Harry sex scene. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really think it was necessary. We gathered they were. Why did I need to see that? It's not like I'm opposed to a sex scene. It's just, I think, because Harry's the father figure of the show, could have done without it, but yeah, we move. And then the next thing, shout out to the old printer. That was quite an amusing little, and seeing it eat the paper, and Dexter have that little like panic of like, just get rid of it. Another thing that I didn't know if it was how I felt on it was the use of crossfades, where it was an interesting choice through the episode. It slightly distracted me, but I didn't know quite how I felt with it, not gonna lie. And I've also put the Derek drama was captivating me a little bit. I was enjoying it in this, and they are raising the stakes, which is nice to see. I do feel like it was a bit of a turning point the last episode, so I am enjoying it. Dexter setting up his third kill, he did start taking pictures of the victims he would want to show. So again, like linking back to what I said earlier about him like gaining that routine. The main reason I'm bringing this up though is he used a Polaroid, and that film is expensive. Dexter's got money to burn apparently on this, because that's expensive film. So fair play to the dedication, but yeah. So yeah, when we went to the Harry flashbacks as well, so obviously the other thing that were mentioned is his partner mentioned Harry's wife, Doris, being quite close to being due. And I am a little like fuzzy on like the timelines of it all, because I can't fully remember, and maybe someone can let me know in the comments if they remember that. I think Deb had a memory of them bringing Dexter home, potentially, or references it slightly. So I'm not sure if it was just like what they had told her, or she remembered it. And obviously if she's just currently being born, then that would imply it's still a few years out until the shipping container thing. So I feel like I would just like a timeline of all the things that happen, just because I do question the integrity of it if it's being a bit squeezed. So yeah, and then obviously I wrote these down in the order that obviously as I was watching, so I'm hopefully following this in a very coherent-ish way. But the next thing, so we obviously flip from the shipping container and the baby little flashback scene over to the double date. Riveting stuff. So there was I think what was meant to be a bit of a gag of Dexter ordering a lot of food. Obviously, I know there's like a bit of a hint to it. I feel like in the original show, the reference to like Dexter liking food was done a lot more subtly, if I'm being honest. It was more just like how Michael C. Hall like acted with the food, I think, when he like it was like more shown, less told, and I feel like it's being a bit more, we're being told it a lot more, Dexter likes food, than being shown it. I guess in this instance, he does order a lot of food, but it just... so we are technically being shown it, so contradicting myself here, but it just felt a bit too obvious, so it just felt odd to me. But in the double date, I think he mentions to his lass that he can't go on a date with her the next day because he's going bowling, which was his code for he's going to kill. But I did appreciate when she was like, are you 35 and divorced? Because I'm pretty sure at the time they do the bowling team in season 2, Batista would have probably been 35 and divorced. So obviously Dexter was with Rhea, so he wasn't necessarily divorced yet, but I did appreciate the whole little conversation around that. They played a little through a few little references in this episode. I feel like they've been doing it a lot throughout, but I feel like these were a lot more noticeable for me. And then the other thing I've put a little comment on is the narration over it all. It's getting a little bit confusing at what angle they're meant to be going at, because 1 minute it's Michael C. Hall's acting like the voice in Dexter's head and like saying his inner thoughts, but then the next minute he's saying like was in past tense, or this was like, and he's having the hindsight perspective again. And I know this was like, a lot of people make the joke saying that the Dexter franchise is doing a Young Sheldon aspect, and I have actually been watching a bit of Young Sheldon, and anytime Jim Parsons is I think, doing a voiceover, it's solely from hindsight. So I feel like they're trying to do the hindsight thing, but because Michael C. Hall's inner voice was such a big part of the original show, that they're also blurring that in. And I just think that makes it, again, inconsistent. I think sometimes for me, this show is a little bit inconsistent with that quality. To be fair, the main show probably was a bit inconsistent at times, so the main thing it's consistent with is being inconsistent. Moving on from that, the next scene was to do with Deb being born, and she was quite a cute kid. She was quite cute. I appreciate that. And then we had the revelation that Doris knows that Harry has been having an affair, so she's like, whoever it is, bin it off, it's done with. I am intrigued, by the way, though, as well, in the original show, when Deb is trying to find out which CI he was sleeping with, there was reference that there was several at one point, or he was kind of a bit of a fiend for doing that. They don't really seem to be delving into any of that and pointing that in there, but again, it might just, it could have still happened. It's not, they haven't purposely said it hasn't happened. It's just, they seem to be forgetting adding that detail in. We got a reference of Tonight's the Night again. Like, I always appreciate a good little Tonight's the Night. Again, so when he did the kill and he officially became a serial killer, they had the music play in, drawing that emotion and that nostalgia for the killing routine, and I'm tapping a lot. So yeah, Dexter officially becomes a serial killer. And then he's obviously, one of the main things I think he hasn't really ironed out is how to get rid of the bodies. Like, he's using M99 and he's got his kill room kind of process set, but the using the body, like getting rid of the bodies isn't ironed out. And I think they did, I could never remember a name. The woman in the file room who's in the main show and this flashback one, she does make a little hint to saying, would you like to why don't you go on the double date on the boat? So it is coming, I believe. I feel like that might be delving into the next episode, because the next episode is, because big body problem. Because obviously the end of this episode, I'm doing this all back to front, I'm so sorry, I'll be more structured next episode. But as Dexter is driving to the swamp to basically let crocodiles eat the body, the police are swarming the swamp, and I'm guessing they found the arm, and it's the big cliffhanger of this, and how does Dexter get out of this situation, which does feel a bit tense, because obviously we saw it quite a lot in the original show, but he was a lot more experienced even at that point. So this is quite interesting that he's in this situation. This is probably the first time he's in this situation of being under a lot of pressure of how do I get rid of this body. He's a lot less experienced with this stuff. He hasn't got this routine ironed out, and he could slip up. So I say he could slip up. I'm acting like I don't know how the show goes, but obviously I'm guessing he won't. But yeah. So I'm intrigued. They have got a little bit of a cliffhanger. I'm intrigued to watch the next episode and get my thoughts out on that. So I did enjoy this episode. It was good. It was definitely a step on from the rest of it. It doesn't feel as like... It feels like some stories actually starting to happen. I feel like this series so far has been a lot of setup and a lot less story. It's kind of like setting up Deb and her, here she is as a teenager, and then like Dexter and stuff. And I just feel like each series in the original show had like a monster of the week, but then they also had the big bad, and I feel like that's been a bit muddled. Like, I know about the boy kidnapping is kind of been there throughout, but because Dexter doesn't really care about it at the minute or beforehand, I don't really care. It sounds really bad. Like, you kind of lead by your main character, because the show's kind of, it's like trying to tell quite a lot of different stories at once, that I don't feel like it's from Dexter's perspective anymore, even though it's having his inner voice talking to him and the hindsight voice. But it is still from his perspective, but yet we're seeing flashbacks of Harry that Dexter would not have known about. And and then like Deb in school and stuff, which at that point and her boyfriend doesn't add anything to the main overall for Dexter, even though I'm assuming this new boyfriend is, because Deb's boyfriends are always either evil or gonna die, so, you know. There's Anton, he got away, but... And then, so we've got the flashbacks, we've got Deb's story in the background, then we've got Dexter's story kind of floating about, and then we've just got all these extra characters that I'm like, where is it all leading? So we're at episode 6 now, so I've got 4 more episodes left for this to conclude in quite it used to end, the big bad would get captured by the end of the season and the season would feel complete. So is that how this is going to end? Is it, I know I'm going to be very late to the game because obviously other people, I say I'm late to the game because I know the show's obviously ended and concluded, so I'm going to try and get this up and out and finished quite rapid fire at this point. But yeah, I'm intrigued how it will end. Lots of hand tapping, lots of tapping on the desk. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very aware it's probably like a little bit of rambled notes, but I'm getting my way through this and I am enjoying the show and I am still enjoying the franchise. I'm just probably quite critical because I love the show, the original show, and Michael C. Hall's portrayal of Dexter. And I want to see it back on form or redeemed and ended in a way that gives closure. But I feel like if third time's a charm, if this resurrection isn't a way to end the Dexter franchise, then I don't know how much I've got left in me, because Grey's Anatomy is still going and I'm pretty sure that should have ended like 10 years ago at this point. So anyway, if you liked this video, I really appreciate it. Give it a like, a comment, a subscribe. I'll be trying to make more content on other shows, such as I've got a couple of ideas in the works for Grey's Anatomy, as I've just mentioned. Obviously Buffy is my #1 love. I feel like there'll always be Buffy content on this channel, that'll never go away. And it'll be probably a lot of revisiting other shows that I have my thoughts to discuss. So yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed. Thank you, bye!